The Triner Hall rose like a throne carved into the bones of a god. Light poured down from a lattice of stellar crystal high above, catching on the armor and robes of over 60 different alien delegations. The Great Council was in session, its voices overlapping in a chorus of warbled syntax, scent-based communication bursts, and telepathic pulses. This was the heart of diplomacy, the furnace of unity. And it was cracking. High Chancellor Virax's voice slithered through the chamber like oil on stone. The soul remnants are unregistered. Their presence is a danger. I motion we classify them as independent rogue species, detached from all treaties. The delegates murmured, shifted. Some nodded, others hissed in disagreement. No one noticed the subtle tremor in the floor. Not at first. Then the doors opened. Not with a bang. Not even with sound. They simply parted. Two figures entered. Unannounced. Unarmed. Unwelcome. The taller of the two moved like a shadow in sunlight, Commander Lyra Sol. Her black uniform bore no insignia, only a faint silver outline of Earth's shattered globe. A single strand of dark hair hung across her cybernetic eye. Her hands remained at her sides. Beside her walked Ajax Rain, heavier, slower, a storm packed in silence. His cybernetic arm gleamed in the golden light, each movement deliberate, heavy with control. The room froze. Literally. Atmospheric regulators hiccuped as half the species present instinctively flared their defensive mechanisms. One delegate's translator combusted under the stress of unreadable human biosignatures. Lyra stopped at the center dais. Her voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. Earth acknowledges this council. And rejects its silence. No one moved. Then Virax stood. His long exoskeletal limbs clicked as he descended his levitating throne, his robes like fluid glass. You do not belong here. Earth forfeited its seat when it declared isolation. Lyra's expression didn't change. Earth was silenced. There's a difference. The subtle tremor returned. Ajax's gaze swept the chamber, slow, calculating. He wasn't watching delegates. He was mapping exits. The Skren envoy, covered in living moss, flickered with bioluminescent concern. You were believed extinct. We mourned your world. Lyra turned slightly toward her. For the first time, softness entered her tone. Then you mourned a lie. A flicker of confusion ran through the chamber. Delegates began accessing records. The Galactic network showed no human ships in operation. No signals. No diplomatic channels. And yet, they were here. Virax clicked his mandibles. This is manipulation. The Council has no room for fearmongers. Ajax finally spoke. You're already afraid. His voice was gravel soaked in ice. Every word landed like a hammer on glass. Lyra raised a hand, stopping him. She stepped forward. We came not to threaten. Not to demand. She paused, letting silence build around her like a force field. We came to be seen. Virax circled slowly, his voice like poisoned silk. Then remove your disguises. What have you become? Half machine? Mercenaries? Vultures of old wars? Lyra unfastened a small vial from her belt. She held it up. Inside, red mist swirled. This contains the atmosphere of the Earth Resistance's last shelter beneath the Siberian vaults. The air my sister died breathing. Her hand did not shake. We kept it. To remember. For the first time, Virax's confidence faltered. And what is it you want, human? Ajax took a single step forward. Justice. Or clarity. Whichever the Council can manage. A low growl erupted from the Chrysanva, giants made of basalt and plasma. We owe you nothing. You burn half the Trillium Quadrant. Lyra looked up at them, unfazed. We lost Earth. Our cities. Our oceans. We didn't come to collect debt. We came to weigh the cost. Murmurs again. Heated, uncertain. The delegates weren't prepared for calm humans. They expected fury. Or begging. Not this presence. The room dimmed briefly. A system-wide ping lit every delegate's retinal feed. Unclassified transmission, origin, human domain. Priority level, Eclipse. Subject, Zathari betrayal, classified logs, intercepted during siege of Titan base. The file decrypted in real time. What it revealed turned whispers into gasps. Zathari fleet logs. Authenticated. A planned sabotage of Earth's peace talks. A strategic decision to ignite war to prevent human ascendance. Virax didn't blink, his species had no eyelids. But his limbs went still. These are falsified. Ajax's voice cut through him. Your war cost us the stars. Don't ask us to apologize for surviving. The council sat in electric silence. Then Lyra walked to the center ring. She knelt, deliberately, placing the vial on the polished obsidian floor. You do not need to trust us. But you will remember this. Her eyes swept the hall. We are not your past. We are your reckoning. Without another word, she turned and began walking away. Ajax followed. No one stopped them. No one dared. The Triner Hall didn't breathe, but something inside it shifted. As the doors closed behind the humans, the chamber erupted, not in sound, but in subtle gestures of panic. Delegate pheromones soured. Telepods retreated into silence. Security drones repositioned. For all their power, none could explain what had just occurred. The humans hadn't threatened. They hadn't pleaded. Yet somehow, they'd taken the air with them. High Chancellor Virax stood rigid beneath the ancient dome, his fingers twitching against invisible data streams. His expression remained composed, but inside calculations raced. The logs the humans revealed, they were authentic. Too authentic. Which meant someone had leaked a wound he'd spent decades burying. Seal the chamber, he ordered. Initiate internal review. And summon them back. The order was ceremonial. He knew they wouldn't come. Deep beneath the council spire, in a private antechamber lit by warm amber light, Lyra and Ajax waited. Ajax sat near the far wall, polishing the metal of his synthetic arm with a piece of worn cloth. Not out of habit, but ritual. The cloth had belonged to someone once. Someone he hadn't spoken of in years. Lyra stood near the observation pane, watching the constellations shift slowly beyond the force field. You broke protocol, she said, not turning around. Ajax didn't look up. You broke the silence. Seems fair. She exhaled slowly. The kind of breath one doesn't notice until it's forced out. They weren't ready. Good. They might never be. Also good. Lyra turned, arms crossed. We need them. No, Ajax said, standing now. They need us. And they know it. A soft chime rang. The door slid open. The delegate from the Scran Collective entered. She was small, bioluminescent, trailing a scent like damp moss and citrus. I speak off record, she said, her translator a soft chime of notes. And with respect. What do you intend? Lyra offered a nod. To stop hiding. And to speak truth. Even if it shatters this place. The Scran's glow dimmed. Then it will shatter. She left without waiting for a reply. Ajax watched her go. 1 down. 60 more to go. Later, during a closed tribunal session, Lyra stood before the council again. This time, without grandeur. No theatrics. Just raw presence. Earth's destruction was not accidental, she began. We have shown you evidence. You've seen the sealed archives. Not just of Zathari betrayal, but of your own silence. Some delegates shifted uncomfortably. The Oralists buzzed in agitation, the Chrysser delegates rumbled with restrained fury, the aquatic Salmirians withdrew into their mobile tanks, processing the weight of accusation. Virax hovered above them all, radiant in appearance, cold in intent. And yet here you stand. Not ruined. Not broken. What happened in your exile? Lyra's eyes narrowed slightly. We survived. In pieces. On ice. Underground. In orbit. A generation raised without a sun, but not without a purpose. A weaponized purpose? He pressed. Ajax stepped forward. A remembered one. We didn't raise warriors. We raised witnesses. The council chamber dimmed. A silent vote began. Every species cast their mark. Most votes were hidden. A few chose transparency. The results loaded slowly. Council vote, humanity's status. Full reinstatement, 14. Observer status, 27. Permanent exile, 20. Final result, observer status granted. Effective immediately. No voice. No vote. Presence only. Lyra didn't flinch. Then we'll watch. Closely. Virax smiled, thin and victorious. Good. Let them see who you are now. That night, in their quarters, Lyra replayed an old message. A child's voice, distorted by age and decay. Mom said the stars would always be ours. That they'd remember our names. She shut it off before the static took over. Her jaw clenched. Her hand trembled just enough for Ajax to notice. We didn't come here to haunt ghosts, he said. No, she whispered. But we are ghosts. That's why they fear us. He said nothing, just placed the cloth gently on the table beside her. A long silence followed. Do you regret coming back? She finally asked. Ajax leaned back, staring at the ceiling. I regret surviving more than I should. She turned to face him. Then let's make surviving count. Far away, in a secured chamber of the Zathari embassy, Virax watched the feed again. Frame by frame. Each word. Each movement. His assistant entered. Shall I prepare a rebuttal? Virax didn't respond. Sir? He turned slowly, voice almost reverent. She reminds me of the first flame. Who? The assistant asked. A human general. The last one to burn half our fleet. He turned back to the screen, watching Lyra freeze mid-speech, holding up the vial of air. And the other one? The assistant asked, nodding at Ajax. Virax's voice lowered to a whisper. A relic. A bomb that hasn't chosen when to detonate. The storm didn't announce itself. It slid in, unseen, unnoticed, until the first scream. It began during an unscheduled session of the council. The hall was dimmer than usual. Lyra and Ajax had returned to observe a security debate over rogue asteroid mining near the fallen human colony of Luton's Wound. The atmosphere was tense, but routine. Then the lights flickered. Just once. Lyra's shoulders stiffened. The floor beneath them gave a soft rumble. Not seismic. Power-related. Ajax's fingers curled unconsciously. He didn't look at Lyra, but his stance shifted, slightly off-center, ready to lunge. Above them, Virax's throne drifted in silence. His exoskeleton shimmered under the dome light, face unreadable. His voice cut through the murmurs. We will proceed. Disruptions are being investigated. A Chrysid delegate hissed. If this is another human stunt. It's not us, Lyra said calmly, scanning the upper shadows of the chamber. She was right. Even before the scream, she knew. It came from the east wing, from the translator's gallery. High-pitched, choked off fast. Then silence again, until the lights died completely. In a breath, everything changed. Motion sensors switched to backup. The chamber bathed in cold emergency blue. Panic murmurs turned into movement. Several delegates activated personal defense shields. One fired prematurely, the pulse ricocheting off the dome and sizzling a decorative pillar. Security breach! Came a voice over the intercom, jittery and rushed. We've lost feeds from levels 3 through 7. Intrusion path unknown. Lyra's hands were already moving, producing a slim silver device from her coat. A data dagger, untraceable, multi-tool, relic of Earth's war division. Ajax tapped his palm. His cybernetic fingers hissed and clicked into combat form. Stay here, he said. I don't take orders. It wasn't one. They split instantly, Ajax moving toward the east wing, Lyra to the emergency systems console embedded beneath the central dais. The council watched, stunned, Not a single guard moved to stop them. Virax rose from his throne. Explain this. Lyra ignored him. Someone's overridden the council core. We're blind. She slid the data dagger into the console. The system shuddered, then blinked alive. Live feed, a masked figure, humanoid, stepping through corridor shadows with a silent, predatory grace. One hand gripped a plasma blade. The other, a detonator. Lyra's throat tightened. The face under the mask wasn't alien. It was human. Ajax found the first body near the eastern corridor. A council scribe, young, unarmed. Killed cleanly. He crouched low, eyes scanning the area. The killer had moved with surgical speed. No wasted motion. No sound. He checked the walls. Infrared scans showed no recent heat signatures. Whoever it was, they were good. Trained. Then he heard the whisper. You should have stayed buried, Rain. He turned fast. Nothing. Just the echo of memory in the dark. A second whisper. We don't kneel to aliens. Then the attack. The assassin dropped from the ceiling, blade first. Ajax caught the strike midair, metal on metal screeching in the blue light. Sparks flew. The assassin's face emerged, young, pale, marked by tattoos of Earth's fallen resistance. We survived the call, he hissed. Ajax shoved him back. You're not survival. You're a scar. They clashed again. The assassin moved like lightning, but Ajax was iron. Every strike he blocked, every feint he anticipated. He didn't fight to kill. He fought to remember who he used to be. You were Vanguard, the assassin screamed. You burned the skies and then walked away. Ajax grabbed his arm mid-swing, twisted, and slammed him into the wall. And you're trying to relight that fire. Why? The assassin coughed, blood at the edge of his mouth. Because they're afraid. We made them afraid. And you're here begging for a seat? He lunged again, but this time, Ajax didn't catch him. He sidestepped. The assassin crashed into an exposed cable and dropped, twitching. Alive. Barely. Meanwhile, the council feed displayed the fight in grainy monochrome. Delegates sat stunned. Virax paced slowly, eyes narrowing. So, even your kind turn on you. Lyra didn't flinch. That one doesn't represent humanity. And yet he exists. So does every war your people ever started. Should I hold you accountable for each one? The chamber fell silent. Then a different kind of sound. A slow clap. Not real. Holographic. Projected from the upper gallery. A female figure appeared, grainy, staticky, watching the room with a smirk. Her voice echoed. You're all so fragile. They walk in, and your unity collapses in hours. Lyra stared. Her jaw tightened. Who are you? The projection leaned closer. I'm what you were too afraid to become. The part of humanity you left behind when you chose diplomacy over dominion. You're a ghost, Lyra said. One clinging to fire. And you're the flame that forgot it burns. The image blinked out. Security regained control minutes later. The assassin was taken into custody. The projection remained untraceable. But the damage was done. In a council built on order, humans had brought chaos, without lifting a single weapon. Later, as the halls emptied, Ajax stood outside the med chamber, arms crossed, watching through glass as the assassin was stabilized. Lyra joined him. Did he say why? Ajax didn't look away. Because we dared to evolve. That's what they fear. No, Ajax said. They fear we haven't. Back in the High Chancellor's chamber, Virax watched the footage again, slow motion. Ajax refusing to kill. Lyra refusing to flinch. They've changed, his aide said. Virax didn't respond. His eyes were fixed on Lyra's face. Not her expression. Her restraint. Or they've learned to wear masks too. The chamber felt colder now. Not physically, but spiritually. Like the walls had heard too much, the stone itself recoiling from what had passed. The council convened again under heavy surveillance, with layered security drones floating above and elite guards lining the perimeter. No one admitted it aloud, but fear clung to the room like smoke. Lyra Sol stood alone in the center, facing the full assembly. Ajax remained at the edge of the gallery, arms folded, eyes scanning every flicker, every twitch. The assassin's attempt had stained humanity's fragile return, but something deeper was at stake now. This wasn't just a diplomatic appeal. It was judgment. Chancellor Virax presided over the session with theatrical calm. You brought a weapon into sacred ground. You compromised the chamber. You endangered us all. Lyra didn't flinch. We brought ourselves. That was enough to shake you. The room stirred. Whispers rippled across translators. Delegates watched with narrowed eyes, uncertain whether to admire her defiance or fear it. Virax descended a level on his left throne. Then perhaps that alone is proof that humanity is not ready to return. We didn't ask permission, Lyra replied, voice steady. We came to remind you, extinction didn't make us disappear. A pause. One delegate from the aquatic Salmirian wave nation clicked its translator. What do you want, human? Lyra looked up, and something shifted in her posture. She wasn't angry. She wasn't pleading. She was tired, but resolute. We want recognition. Not a title. Not a flag. Just truth. That we lived. That we lost. That we came back. Not as conquerors. Not as victims. As witnesses. Virax interjected, tone sharpened. And what will you do if we deny you? Before Lyra could speak, Ajax stepped forward. His voice came low, but firm. Then we become myth. Virax narrowed his eyes. Meaning? Ajax held the chamber in silence. Meaning you'll spend the next 1,000 years wondering if the next ship that crosses your border carries another one of us. Meaning we fade into shadows, and every flicker in the stars becomes a question. Every silence becomes threat. We won't make war. But we'll never be forgotten. No one breathed. Lyra stepped beside him, the two of them framed in the faint glow of the chamber's artificial light. You've built peace on forgetting. But memory is stronger than denial. And we remember everything. The Scran delegate rose, slowly, cautiously. I motion to allow them voice. Not vote. Not rule. But presence. To be heard. Another voice followed. Then another. And another. In moments, the chamber bloomed with uncertain support. Virax waited. Calculated. Then delivered his final verdict. Humanity will be granted observatory presence under restricted terms. No fleet. No influence. One voice only. And who decides what we say? Lyra asked. You do, he replied. But understand, every word will shape what we do next. Later, in the lower halls, far from the noise, Lyra and Ajax walked side by side beneath towering windows that stared out into the black sea of stars. We made it, she said softly. Barely, Ajax replied. And it'll never be easy again. We don't need easy, she said. We need real. He nodded, pausing at the edge of a balcony. You still carry it? He asked. She didn't answer with words. Just held up the small vial again, the last heir from Earth's resistance vault. It swirled in her palm, red and alive in the light. It's not just memory, she said. It's proof. We were there. We bled. We built. We burned. But we're still here. Ajax looked out into the void. And they know it now. A soft alert chimed. A message blinked across Lyra's wristband. Encrypted. No sender ID. She opened it. Only 3 words. You're not done. No signature. Just static at the end. Ajax read over her shoulder. One of ours? Maybe, she said. Or maybe just someone who understands what it means to survive. They stood together, staring out into the unknown. Behind them, the council buzzed with analysis and suspicion. The galaxy would not return to calm. The humans were no longer a story of the past, they were a question in the present. We won't be invited back, Ajax said. No, Lyra agreed. But next time, we won't need an invitation. He looked over at her, the faintest smile ghosting across his scarred face. So, what now? Lyra turned, her coat billowing in the corridor wind. Now? We remind the stars that silence was never our nature. And they walked forward, into the corridors of diplomacy, war, peace, and memory. Into history. Into legend. Final line. They came in silence, but left the galaxy listening,